Everyone, and welcome to week 8. This week we have two topic areas. The first one is part 1, creating a reflective GPS grad portfolio story. Focus on 3, collect. That is going to be collecting the evidence and artifacts for your portfolio. And then part 2, review the guest networker seminars on networking strategies, sharing your story. So let's look at week 8. Here we are in the module. If you open up the module for week 8, you'll see part 1, the module information itself, and also we have discussion 6 on networking due, and assignment 3, which is collecting your reflective portfolio, phase 3 collect. And don't forget, we've got the frequently asked questions for INTS for 498. And if you want to talk about your grad portfolio story, I keep that forum open as well. So let's look at the module for this week. Introduction. Developing your reflective GPS grad portfolio story focus on phase 3 collect is an empowering way for you to support your learning, integrate your learning, and preparing to share your learning story. This module focuses on the process of collecting artifacts and evidence of your learning. The collection of evidence and artifacts can also be used to support your learning story while networking and sharing your learning story. Module objectives. They relate to the course objectives number 1 and 5, and after you complete the tests in week 8, you'll be able to identify artifacts for the reflective portfolio, discuss why artifacts are included in the reflective portfolio, categorize the artifacts for the reflective portfolio, plan how to archive artifacts for the reflective portfolio, and describe networking strategies. Module activities should take you about an hour and 25 minutes. I've included 3 of our ebooks this week for you to review. We're going to be looking at the GPS grad portfolio story with the focus on collect, and we'll be looking at creating your reflective portfolio, focus on collect. And I have in the guest networker book ebook to look at 3 guest networkers that we have. First is Angela Marie Dias. She's an INTS major and a graduate of Kennesaw State University and a military veteran. She has done a guest networking website for us on making business cards and networking. And the business cards she shows you how to make them for free. And the second is Lydia Henderson on networking. She is the career internship advisor for University College in the Department of Career Planning and Development. And then we have Networking for Success seminar by Tim Houston, and he's a professional networker with a company called BNI. I've interviewed him, and he has several books on networking. And speaking of networking, he's also my cousin. Okay, let's look at what's due this week. And before we talk about what's due this week, I want to say thank you for your excellent discussions through discussion 5 on the career search process, and also just career research ranging from starting a business to applying for an organization to going to grad school, whatever. That's just some of the topic areas. And thank you for your excellent assignment 2 on looking at assess what are your significant learning events and why, and also what are your plans after graduation. Now, this week is due discussion 6 on networking, strategies to share your story, and assignment 3, creating your reflective portfolio, phase 3, collect, and that is looking at what you want to save and archive for your portfolio. The 2 assignments this week are due on Thursday at 11 p.m. And take a look at next week. We have only one discussion due for next week, discussion 7, and that's going global with your GPS grad portfolio story for bettering self and society. Module summary. After completing this module, you'll be able to define the process of creating your GPS grad portfolio story with the focus on the reflective portfolio phase 3 collect, and you'll develop your plan for supporting material for your learning story, and you will have reviewed the guest network seminars on networking, sharing your story. Module checklist. Continue to read the ebooks that I have listed for you. And remember, we have discussion 6 and assignment 3 due this week, and next week is discussion 7. What's going to be for next week? Going global with your GPS grad portfolio story for bettering self and society. Let's take a look at discussion 6. And you will see here, it's the topic name is Networking Strategy, Sharing Your Story. And I have provided 4-part information for you to look at, and then actually 5-part to look again at your guest network. And the 6th part is to answer once you've looked through this information on networking, from Networking Strategies, Tips on Networking with Tim Houston. I did an interview. Also, networking, a great networking article by Dr. Hermania Ibarra from the INTS Graduate School, talks about the types of networking. We also have how to create business cards and networking, and Networking 2.0, and also the information of our guest networkers um, on the process of networking, as I mentioned earlier. So once you look at all this information, I would just like you to think about and answer the following questions. Why is networking important? Why is it important to develop face-to-face networking skills and networking 2.0 skills? Why is it important to know about personal, operational, and strategic networking? And do you have plans to network with our guest networkers? I don't want to know who, but do you just have plans to reach out? Because our guest networkers are all available to assist in all aspects of your transition from the university as they relate to career and citizenship. Lastly, let's take a quick look at assignment 3. I always include a video of instructions here, and assignment 3 is creating a reflective portfolio phase 3 collect, from storage to strategy, or strategy to storage. I have some information here for you to take a look at as well. And then you'll just be answering, and of course, back to the reflective portfolio ebook. And I have 3 questions for you to answer on the worksheet. And again, you can use the worksheet or just write it in narrative form or whatever works best for you. And the questions are, what do you want to include in your reflective portfolio? Examples, narrative of past, present, future plans, document evidence, digital examples. Why do you want to include this in your reflective portfolio? How do you plan on archiving them for your reflective portfolio, digital, paper, etc.? And what artifacts, evidence, and narratives will you include to support your learning categories, such as any examples that you might have for self-directed learning, key learning events, education, employment, service, transferable skills, personal projects, technologies, and also, remember, you can always customize these categories. Well, one day closer to graduation, and remember, if you need an extension, just let me know. And the best way is really to reach out through D2L, followed by either the KSU email, as well as leaving me a message. Okay, one day closer to graduation, Dr. Joni.